Good evening. Hi, Miss Linda.
Hello, hello.
Good evening. So glad to see you today. Hello, everybody. I'm glad that you all tuned in for our podcast today here with Build Your Best Life, the blueprint to success. I'm your host, KemAmira Brown Goodson, a mother, entrepreneur, and community. I am here today with the lovely Linda Wright-Patrick. Um,
Yes.
it's in there. It's in. I'm so delighted. I've seen you on many of the podcasts before, and I'm like, I get an opportunity to finally meet you and chat with you. I'm super excited about today. So I know we're gonna have fun. I know you're gonna give us some great nuggets. I'm one of those people I carry around a lot of paper and pen. So when I'm looking down, I'm writing down nuggets. I'm writing down.
Awesome, awesome, Cam. It is going to be wonderful. I'm so happy as always to be on Build Your Best Life with Deborah. And I'm glad you're able to host for her tonight. It's always my pleasure, and I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Exactly. So, guys, we are going to have a ball today. We're going to dive into some wonderful questions here with Miss Linda. As I stated, thank you all for tuning in today with Build Your Best Life, the blueprint to success. Miss Linda has joined in graciously to from the Bahamas.
Yes.
That's an awesome. Like, we'll get to chat a little bit more about that later on and tell us a little bit more about what's going on over there. So good evening, all, and Linda, thank you for taking the time out to be my special guest. I'm taking this leap today. How about that?
Yes.
So that I want to make this fun. So here on the platform on our podcast today, you guys, we are a community that pours into our young men from the perspective of single moms or moms, not just single moms, but from the parents' point of view, where we empower our young men, where we uplift them and give them the tools that they'll need as they branch into becoming a young man. And today, our topic is going to be best practice for helping young um, men win in life. So that is a great topic. I have a son. He's now 20, about to be 26 soon. So a lot of these nuggets are nuggets that I wish I had when he was growing up that I didn't have, but I had a great tribe that helped me out when I needed them, right? So
Yes.
today, I want to take this opportunity to allow you to introduce yourself. I know you've been on here on the platform before, but please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about what you do, and we'll start from there.
Okay, okay. Hello, everyone. I am Linda Wright Patrick. I am, I'd like to say, pretty tall. So, um, uh, and I like to say that because not that I'm actually pretty tall. I am actually pretty tall as well, but um, I am, and I, I I spend so much time doing these different things that it seems like it just becomes a part of like who I am and what I do. And then sometimes it's like, how do you separate everything, right? But first of all, I am a mother of three wonderful children, which was brought to me by my wonderful, amazing husband, Vito. And so, together we've been married, we're raising them. Um, and we've been married for going on, I think it's 24 years. He could correct me if I'm wrong. He knows the numbers, but it's been a long time and a short time all in one. And I do have an amazing son. He's sandwiched between my two daughters, so he's a middle child. um, I'm an educator, I'm a counselor, I'm a coach. And so I love working with couples. We do that on Unique Couples, my husband and I. And then of course I work with women as well, to try to help them to basically, yes, live out their best lives, right? But I enjoy doing it because I know I was at a point where I was trying to figure out like what am I doing and where am I going with my life. So to be able to be um, a, of assistance to people, and even to show up on platforms and to help people, really know what their purpose and what they're called to do, and kind of like help them sort out those different, different goals, and even with young men. Um, so that is what gets me excited. So I'm always happy to be able to share. So I think I answered all the questions. That's a little about me. I'll tell you all about the pretty tall. So stay tuned until the end, and I'll tell you what that means. Yes. And my husband and I, we recently wrote a book as well, How to Strengthen Your Marriage. And so we talk about the 7 pillars to strengthen your marriage. And so that is on Amazon. And we believe strongly in having our young men lead the charge. So we don't want to leave them behind. And, Deborah's platform is all about building strong men, building these young men now so that they can be the persons that they need to be. And that's important to me because we deal with marriages. So we need these strong men because, hey, ladies are going to eventually marry them. So
yes.
we need to work together.
And nobody wants a lazy man.
No.
Awesome. Well, once again, you guys, I want to thank you all for tuning in to the podcast today. I want to thank you viewers for those that have already tuned in with us on the podcast. Please comment. Let us know that you are here. We would like to welcome you in to join us. We're going to gather some great nuggets. We're going to dive right in and let's get some words. Share this post with some friends that has sons that are branching out into the community now, because when we look at it, there is a somewhat of a lack of information out there for some of the men. Social media can give them a little bit, but how about when we give it to when we as parents, as leaders and mentors, we provide this information to our young men personally. So if you know someone and they need this information as they branch off into college, into high school, and preparing to go out and be healthy young men out in the world, let's share this information into the households. So we're going to dive right in. Miss Linda, so my first question is, as both a mother and educator, what are the most important values every young man should learn at an early age?
Well, at an early age, I think it's important to establish the foundation. And so when your child is young, establishing things like the value of hard work. They need to know, and especially as young men, they need to know that, hey, you need to work to achieve what you want. Not expecting a handout, not expecting that, hey, I'm going to relax and my mom is going to take care of everything. No, we want to teach our young men that, yes, you work hard and your hard work will pay off. You work hard and you will get the results. You will succeed. So that is a value that I think our young men should learn at an early age. And of course, integrity. Integrity is so important. They need to know that they need to mean what they say and say what they mean. Exactly. There shouldn't be any mixed messages. And this integrity will also spill over into their relationships as well. And so if they learn this at a young age, as they become older, and even as they get into relationships, or even if it's schoolwork or whatever it is going to be extremely valuable for them. And so they need to know that, hey, my yes is yes and my nay is nay. And like Coach Deborah, would say, or said in her book, your word is your bond. Yes. And so that is important. So our young men should learn, hey, the value of hard work. They should learn integrity. And of course, when we look at the space, and of course, for those of you who are believers, we would appreciate this. And those of you who aren't, just kind of like bear with it. But there are like 3 main areas in our lives that we make decisions on.
Yes.
Who we are going to serve, who we will marry, and what we'll do with our life in terms of a career. And so I think putting God in there at an early age, where you know that, hey, I'm accountable to someone higher than me, a higher being. I think letting your child know that there will be some things that you will feel at loss and helpless, like you can't do it, or you might feel inadequate. But they need to know that they could depend on this higher power, and
Yeah.
that is God. For us, hey, that is God. So I think allowing them to know at an early age that yes, things may seem impossible there, but there is that faith element. After you have done all that you can, you just rely on that God. And so hard work, integrity, and of course believing in God, I believe those are values that will definitely take our young men very far.
I love that. I love that, especially the integrity. So also often it's they don't take the value of it. A lot of these young men, and then applying it with hard work. They everything they think when you look at social media today, a lot of them think that it's that easy to get
Mhm.
into what you want. It's not that easy. It's a lot of hard work, and a lot of them want to skate by with just doing it. Let me just jump in, and it's gonna happen for me. And then when they fail, then they feel like my parents failed me, or
Yes.
the community failed me. No, it's hard work. You have to apply the hard work in order to get and achieve the things that you want in life.
Yeah.
So that
It's
was
like choose your heart, right? It's like choose your heart. Life is hard. Not doing the work is going to be hard. Doing the work is hard, but it's like choose your heart, because at the end of the tunnel, what do you want?
yes, yes.
Yeah.
How what does it say? Well, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? And if you want it that bad, you go out and do it because nobody's gonna hand it to you. You're not fed with a silver spoon,
No.
right? You have to apply that hard work. Awesome, awesome. My next question is: what habits have you seen consistently separate successful young men from those who struggle?
Mm. And when we look at successful men, um, we kind of like see it, because like if you were to ask someone what does a successful person look like, most of the time the image that will come to mind would be someone who's well groomed, nicely dressed, the attire, everything. So physically there is a look to success.
Yeah,
Okay. And outside of that, yes, we need to definitely, they need to groom themselves well and dress well and, present themselves well and speak well. All of that needs to take place. But what really separates those who are successful and for those who are struggling, because guess what? Someone who's struggling could still look the part and not actually be it, right?
but
But
the funk. They look good, but it
yeah, look good, but ain't nothing happening, right? But hey, we can't kind of like knock them down for trying. But it goes more beyond that. And I'm
yeah,
saying that is important. And then we also need to add some other stuff as well. So one of the things I would say is that separates young men, successful men, from those who are struggling would be um, not being accountable. Those who struggle, most of them have a problem with being accountable
yeah,
and taking responsibility,
yeah.
because it's like someone else was going to do it, or it didn't happen because of this. There's always an excuse or a reason why something didn't happen. it's
Right.
it's never I am responsible, I should have done it, I should have closed the door, I should have went to the interview, oh no, the people didn't like me. And there's just always excuse after excuse as to why something didn't happen. And I believe that is a big kind of like roadblock
Yes.
for a young man becoming successful, if they kind of like hold on to that not being accountable.
Right.
So that's one. I'd say number two would be they keep looking for a hero instead of being the hero in their own story.
That's good. That's
And when we look at them being um, trying to look for a hero, it's kind of like relates to the accountability, because it's like I'm trying to get someone to take care of my responsibilities. I want someone to just kind of like take all the burden away and rescue me from whatever it is,
yeah.
but I'm not taking responsibility I am not deciding that, hey, I am going to make the difference. I'm going to put in the work. I'm going to do that, put in the effort. I'm going to take the time to search out and look for what I want. I'm going to learn the skills that I need for this particular position or job or whatever it is. So that is definitely something that separates them. And number three, I would say, would be lack of mentorship.
Okay.
So many times our young men, and for no fault of them, it's like, you don't know what you don't know. Like, you don't know. And I even think about, like, in some instances in my life where it would have been so much easier if I had steps that I could kind of like walk into, someone who would have went down this road before, and I kind of like follow in their footsteps. Yes, I'm making my own decisions. Yes, I'm seeing all of the footprints, but hey, you know what? I see this person and they are where I want to be. So I'm going to try and do things similar to what they did to get where they are, if that's where I want to be. And I think our young people, our young men, they don't have enough mentors to help them, enough mentors or even role models to help them, positive role models, because you have a lot of bad ones out there. And so they'll gravitate to those ones because, it's easier to see them. And when they do wrong, they kind of like condone it or think, oh, it's okay. And then they follow those steps as well. But when we look at mentorship, it's really about our older men, people in our churches and our community and these various service clubs, taking the time out, even in schools, taking the time out to mentor, to be there for these young men, to teach them the skills and values that they need to know and how they can, handle life and their responsibilities. That is indeed something that separates those who are successful from
Right.
those who struggle, because the support is definitely needed. And I think you said you had a village, right? When you raise your son, that village makes a big difference.
Exactly. Exactly. Awesome. Awesome. My next question is, how can parents intentionally build confidence, character, and resilience in their young sons?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So when we look at, building confidence, character, resilience, sometimes it it's not it's not easy, because sometimes when parents don't have it themselves, it's hard to pass on what you don't have. So one of the first things I would say is parents need to make sure that they have all of those things too, that they have they have confidence, they have character, they are resilience, and then model that behavior that they want to see portrayed in their sons.
That's
So, because sometimes we think that we can just say things to our children, we could say things to our sons, and they should do what we say because we said it. But they need to see us modeling it. They need to see us actually doing the things that we're telling them to do. They need to have seen us do it and seen the value and where we are and how those decisions, our confidence, our character, how that is played out. We can't tell them to be honest. We can't tell them to, be trustworthy when we're on the phone lying to someone else, or in our relationships, we're doing the exact opposite, or on our jobs, we're doing the exact opposite. So model the behavior. That's very important that you want portrayed in your son. So that will be, I'd say, my point number one. And then the second thing I would say would be, parents need to equip their sons with the skills and tools needed, and then let them make their own decisions. So don't say you're building them to be strong and building them to be men and to make their own decisions, but then you go ahead and want to control their lives. No, you have to free them to be able to make their own mistakes, because they'll learn more from, unfortunately, this is life. We learn more from our mistakes than we actually learn from what we got right. And if we're really smart, we'll learn from the mistakes of others and don't have to experience them ourselves. But when we make a mistake and we get something wrong, those lessons tend to be imprinted in our brains more than the times that we get, you get 99 things correct. but you will surely remember that one thing you got incorrect, right? So build them strong, provide them with the skills and the tools and the strategies or whatever it is that they need, and then help them. Let them make their own decisions. Number three, I would say, um, one of the things that parents need to do to intentionally build confidence, character, and resilience in their children is, and this lesson, I think I am continually relearning it, even with my own children, even in educational settings in the classroom. And I think a month or so ago, I was like, oh my God, how did I fall back in this trap of doing this? But the message came through loud and clear. I was like, oh man, I have to kind of like write this down somewhere and just have this, and just keep remembering it every so often. The absence of criticism is not the presence of praise.
Yes.
Like, oh my goodness. I was like, oh gosh, Linda, why? Why don't you remember that? Because sometimes we think, I kind of like grew up in an environment where, whether it was in the neighbors and I'm hearing this from, or just kind of like seeing it, and you see it in school and everywhere, home, and it's like you get criticized for all of the things that you did wrong or didn't do right, and it's all around you. You hear more no's than yeses, right? So we get so used to being bombarded by all of these no's and no's and no, you can't do this, and all of the negatives. But when we're raising our children, and especially our sons, we have to remember the absence of criticism. And that part came because I did not want to be the one to always criticizing and saying these things. And okay, right. So that wasn't in my vocabulary. Mm-hmm. But instead of, kind of like topping it up with so much more praise, it was just, okay, so there was no criticism. But just because you're not criticizing didn't mean that you had a whole lot of praise. And so I had to learn that lesson the hard way. And so the absence of criticism is not the presence of praise. And we need to praise more often instead of criticizing. So that's like accentuating the positive. Look for those positive things about your son. What is he doing or saying, and how is he behaving? And if it's only one thing, and guess what? Of course, I use this with spouses as well. So this works all around, if they're doing just that one thing and that's all you can praise, then take your time and praise that, because it will make a difference. So look for opportunities to praise and edify, and like, oh my goodness, that was great, and I loved how you did this. Even if it's simple things like, oh, I love how you put up the dishes. I love how you took time out to get the car washed, or whatever it is. And if it's only that,
and that builds that,
and they'll appreciate it.
I love that. That. I love, like you said, allowing them to face their challenges. That's one of the biggest things. If we allow them to face their challenges instead of us trying to do everything for them, we're helping them to build. And then secondly, like you say, with praising their process, even if it's the smallest things. So often parents get so caught up in, like you say, doing, that we're doing it, but we're missing that mark of allowing them, like we're praising them for great job. They're learning step by step. And then it's like, okay, I did this good, so let me try it let me do this. The next thing that I do, I'll get an additional praise. And I'm learning as I go. My thing was cars. I always said, oh my God, I'm a single mom and I don't know what to do about a car. Let me call AAA. And he was like, no, I got this. And I was like, you can't change a tire. And he was like, yes, I can. And he got out there at the age of 8 and changed the tire.
Wow.
And I was like, this child just changed the tire. By the time he was 15, he was doing all changes. So that praise of him just doing, the little things around the house, it actually took him into learning, watching people do, the tires. And then, here he is at that early age. So praise is very important. So those are good. It's a great nugget.
Definitely. And one last thing I would like to add to that would be, we need to remember to share stories of our failures and successes. So many times we want things to look pretty, and so we only show how we have been successful, but
That
we don't show our kids, our sons, how we would have failed and struggled and when we overcome. The story is better when you show, this is where I was. This is how I failed. This is how I got it wrong, but I did this
yeah.
and, achieved the success, or I failed. So they can know that, yes, sometimes you will fail. But when
Hmm.
you fail, you don't give up, you don't stay down, you climb
Yes.
up, you learn from the failures to help you with success.
Yes. Yes. And like I say, they see the picture perfect. That was a great scenario. My son used to always say, "Hey, I saw this house that I wanted to get over." It's like, no, no, no. Everything isn't good and gravy, and we make things look good.
Yep.
But we have to let them know sometimes we fail, sometimes we just don't have it, but we're working hard to accomplish. So we want you to do, and that goes back to, like you say, working hard. Show them that they have to work hard to get the things they want. Oh, that is a great. That is so good. Um, my next question is: what role does discipline play in helping our young men reach their God-given potential?
So yeah, before I answer that, I have to say, because I know I kind of like made some comments on, but you said your son at 8 years old started to change tires. You praised him and he continued, and he said that, hey, yes, he could do it, and he made a point to do it and continued on after. That is amazing. And so just imagine, in some homes we have boys who don't know how to do that,
Right.
never have done it, don't even want to learn how to, or have no interest or whatever, or don't know how to. But a 8-year-old boy decides that he is going to do that. So I think as parents, we also need to be aware that, hey, we have the power to help and train and mold our sons to be so much like the whole world is out there for them to explore, and we can pique their interest in so many different areas, because that is definitely, listen, if you break down on the road, right, that's
Son.
a skill that you definitely need. If you can't call somebody, that is going to be something. And trust me, I want my man to know how to change a tire. I mean, sorry ladies, I don't want to be sexist or anything, but I prefer to be in a car with my husband who knows how to change a tire
Yeah.
than someone who does and it
Yeah.
doesn't. And I'd say I did have to call him several times when the tire got flat. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I'm on my way to work, like, no, I can't change no tire. I mean, not that I can, but anyway, you understand, right? Okay, so back to the question. You asked, what role does discipline play?
Yes. What role does this
Yes.
play in helping our young men reach their God-given potential?
Yes, and this is so important, and I tell my students and everything this over and over again as well. Self discipline is the mark of a strong man, and usually I just not make it man or woman. I just kind of like tell them, if you are not disciplined, then someone will discipline you. And
There you
that's the reality. If you can discipline yourself, if you can decide that there are things that I need to do, and if I don't do them, this will be the results. If
go.
you don't decide that, that's why we have prisons. Because I'm not self disciplined, I decide to break the law, break the rules. I don't want to follow the rules. I think, I'm better than the rules, that the rules don't apply to me.
Yes.
And what happens is we find a lot of our young people, young men, deciding it doesn't apply to them. I don't have to be disciplined. I don't have to control myself. I don't have to control my emotions or how I feel. If I'm angry, I could just lash out and hit you because you said something that I didn't want to say. And no, you need to be disciplined enough to know that if someone says words, you can use your words too. And you can use your words in a way that communicates what you want to say, and it doesn't have to use profanity.
Yeah.
So our kids need to know that, hey, I need to be disciplined. I need to control my urges. I need to decide to put that. And if you don't know how to, ask the Lord to help you as well. Put
Fine.
that under control, because we don't want to be in a position where someone else tells us when to
Exactly.
wake up,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
to eat, I mean, like when we're on jobs, sometimes we get that too. They tell you when to go
Yeah.
to sleep because, hey, you have to wake up in the morning for work, and when it's lunchtime and break time. But outside that, if you're in a like prison, is basically someone is telling you what to
You're,
do with every minute of your day.
they say it how they say it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So self-discipline is, I think that's an invaluable skill. And if our children, especially if our young men, learn that from an early age, it will be a game changer. There will be nothing they won't be able to achieve if they know how to be disciplined.
That's good. That's good. And those are very key elements. Regular, when you say about the how they act, so many young men are acting on impulse
Mm-hmm.
rather than taking the time to just sit back and think about what they're doing before they act.
Mm-hmm.
And if they just control, you know, there was a young man once, and he always used to say, "How does your son act the way he acts?"
Mm.
I tell him 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's my son's theory. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He saw it on some show, and
Mm-hmm.
that was something that he helped me apply as well. Take your time, breathe, think about it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I say, what would God do? But it's very vital that they learn self-control,
Yes.
discipline, and how to, just like I say, control themselves,
Yes.
especially after these irate moments that's going on in society today. Those are great nuggets. I want to say thank you again for our viewers that are tuning in today. We are here with Linda Wright-Patrick. Thank you
Yeah.
for joining us today. I want to say thank you all for tuning in to Build Your Best Life of Success, Blueprint to Success. We have some guests that have tuned in today. I want to thank Miss Deborah for allowing us to utilize the platform today, for filling in with you in your absence. I really appreciate the opportunity. Um, hey, I'm doing it. That's all I'm saying. I'm doing it, and I'm loving it. And what a great opportunity to for my first guest. Thank you. Um, so once again, we have Miss Jocelyn. Thank you, Miss Jocelyn, for tuning in today. Pastor Ricardo, it is wonderful to see you on the line today on our podcast. So thank you all for tuning in. Please like and share this podcast with your friends, that may need these valuable nuggets that we have going on today. So here is what we build communities that will help our young men to better themselves as they grow into adulthood, and branch out into the world on their own. Because we as parents, we can't always shelter them, but we can
Nope.
all provide as much information as we can so that they can be productive in their life. So thank you all again for tuning in.